All right, so I think I'm live. Anyway, hey everybody, happy Sunday. Um, I want to talk about the idea of a zeitgeist, which I want to tie it into like World Cup, and then I'm going to wrap up with how it matters in just daily life and knowing, like, being conscious of what the idea of a zeitgeist is, and kind of the idea of memes too, because I really think that the ideas really just piggyback off each other. Memes are like kind of smaller than the zeitgeist itself. Anyway, so first off, I want to get into the definition I read of zeitgeist. So it says the defining spirit or mood of a particular period of history as shown by the ideas and beliefs of the time. Um, Now, I've listened to many discussions where people talk about zeitgeist being on a global level or a national level, but I think it can apply to any real size group, even as small as a group of three people. Um, I think zeitgeist is when you're thinking about the same thing. When people are on the same track of mind, it has nothing to do with your location. That's the interesting thing about zeitgeist is just the concept that someone else in Russia, China, in a different language can be talking about the same idea right now that I am, maybe recording a YouTube video or some incarnation of it in Indonesia. I don't know. But it's the idea that someone is thinking the same thing you are or along the same lines somewhere else at the same given time. So, like, a lot of times, zeitgeist has been attributed to the zeitgeist of like the 1960s, the Cold War. It was something that was ever on everyone's mind. Communism versus capitalism, just things like that. Things like that. It's like, where is the state of mind of the collective group of people? Obviously, you're going to have the outliers who are just choosing to. I mean, there's some people who are just like sports athletes, you know. Um, yeah, they're going to get thrown into like social politics and whatever. But sometimes you're just going to have certain dudes or, ladies, whatever, who they just 100% of their dedication is on, say, gymnastics or, basketball or football or soccer or whatever. And that's where it comes to the World Cup. Is the World Cup is very interesting and a lot of other events, but I just happened to finish watching Croatia lose to France, which Croatia played a great game. France, great team. Whatever about the penalty, it was a great game, but everyone, I think, played their best. And the thing is, everyone on a lot of people all over the earth were watching that. Not only that, they're talking about it, and that's the idea of the zeitgeist. It is and the reason I'm bringing it up is some people might not even argue that the World Cup would be a like legitimate zeitgeist. The thing is, I think because there's so many ideas being thrown around now, is as we're kind of diverging as far as ideas go. Because normally people were, okay, I'm going to take a step back, because if you look back for further and further back in human history, there were like less ideas to have because our languages weren't as developed. Most people were just focused on survival. Most stories people told were like better ways to survive, better ways to hunt, better ways to fish, better ways to build a house. Now, like, we have established like cultures and societies and communities and shit. It's like you don't need to tell a story about how to build a building because the building's already there. You don't need to tell someone how to hunt because someone's making burgers faster than they can be eaten. It's not a conversation that needs to be had. So now we're talking about things that have not really been talked about. So how that ties into today is because we're kind of being freed by our conversations about survival. I think that it kind of frees us to talk about literally anything else. And because of that, I think having like the World Cup it's like a way of us like all being on track at the same time. Because the World Cup is very interesting because at the end of the day, it's a competition. And your very traditional values in any country are going to be shown. Anytime there's a competition where there's distinct rules, it's always going back to order. Because no matter what happens, there is a winner and a loser. There's like, I'm going to the battle of the progressive versus the conservative, the chaos versus order. And the nice thing is World Cups are kind of stabilizing because at the end of the day, France is the winner. You're going to have a bunch of people that wanted Croatia to win. And I wanted Croatia to win. I wanted a newcomer. I really liked the team. But that's the thing. It's like they didn't win. And that's where you start getting your controversy. That's where people start freaking out. And I mean, it's good because then, if everyone just agreed, what's the point of being alive? First off, but yeah, I need to get back to where I was talking about. So the idea of a zeitgeist is being part of an idea that is happening all over, not even in your language. Like, businessmen. I'm sure there's businessmen in China, in Saudi Arabia, in the United States, and as much as these people never talked and couldn't communicate, if you put them next to each other, they're having the same conversation in different languages. It's the same social dynamic. It's the same points being made. It's really interesting, that idea in of itself. And this is where it ties into memes. Is to anyone who doesn't know, and you can look it up. Richard Dawkins was the person who first coined the term meme, and when he meant it, he didn't mean like pictures of SpongeBob with white text on the top or bottom, or whatever the hell, frogs. I mean, the thing is, a meme is anything, and that's exactly what he meant. It's an idea, and he was bringing up the idea that just like genes in our phenotypes that are naturally selected against by the physical world, ideas, memes, are naturally selected against in our cultural, our social, our rational world. And so if you have a good idea, it'll get naturally selected against and it will succeed. It'll thrive. And I mean, think of all the people who've made memes who just don't work out, or only resonate with a small group of people. That is what Richard Dawkins was talking about. It's like, what is the most natural fit for those ideas? And that's where Zeitgeist comes into play, because a Zeitgeist is like a combination of all the memes in a given period of time. And so I think I kind of made my point. I tried to tie in a lot of things that have been on my mind and about memes and Zeitgeist. You can obviously read on it. I'd love to chat with anyone about it. I have my Twitter, you comment on this video, but I'm going to move on to how this applies to daily life, is to be conscious of, mindful of the memes you're taking part in, the zeitgeist that you are choosing to be a part of. Because I think sometimes people, like, they kind of, when they're praying, when they're with their family, when they're, when you're in your moments of peace, what your personality is, who you are as a person. But the thing is when you're tested, when you're in a social setting, when you want approval from other people, you forget who that person is, and you start taking part in these memes, zeitgeists, these ideas, these bubbles. You're becoming part of these social circles that you don't even really identify with that much, or you think you want to identify with more. And so more just be conscious of the fact that it's like, is it me, like the me that I have to like be alone with at night when I fall asleep, or is it the me I want to be, and I haven't fully recognized the consequences of my actions of going towards that? And that's kind of the point I'm making. Like, the World Cup is actually kind of just a back burner, but it's more just a great idea to explain that. I mean, it's pretty obvious that it's like one moment when sports fans all over the world get to duke it out for their countries. It's a way for, because I know I look at it when I'm like watching Mexico play. The way, not only the way they win, but the way they lose. Like when a country takes a foul, like just the body language, like the way the people are acting. Like, I'm looking at their discipline, the way their respect, their honor, whatever. I'm looking at the way they do good things and bad things. When they score a goal, is it somewhat humble? Are they showboating complete? You're constantly weighing that out, and you're making it representative of a country, which is exactly what people want. They want that like distilled moment where they can be like, "Hey, you remember the moment where, oh shit, I can't think of anything at the moment." But like Griezmann, I don't know what the hell. He had like an L on his forehead, and he was like dancing like, he looked like a loser. Honestly, that I remember that. I'm like, that's not good for a Frenchman. I'm like, or good for French people. Jesus Christ, I forgot to turn my phone off. But that's what people want. They want those moments where they can be like, "Yep, that's what I picture a French guy to look like." Or on the other side of things, is to be a Frenchman and see like, wow, they did something really cool. That was really humble. That was really a good display of skill. So like, you're looking for those. It becomes a meme in and of itself, in the fact that it's something you mentally go back to. So that's the World Cup. That's Zeitgeist. That's memes. know where you're at mentally when you're taking part in these ideas. So I am just hitting the 10-minute mark, and I don't want to make videos any longer than that. But I just kind of wanted to talk about the mindfulness of being a part of a social zeitgeist, and the idea that the memes you take part in, as far as ideas that people are passing along to you, are transactional. And just hearing an idea doesn't mean it's part of who you are. That's why people get offended and shit like that. But know who you are, say no when it's time, ignore when it doesn't matter, or agree when it's something that really resonates with you. So it's been a while since I made a video that was like this deep or whatever. I mean, I don't know. I guess I really haven't been making videos all lately. So it's good to get back on. Again, would love to hold a conversation, but this is just me unloading my mind anyway. So love the anonymity. Peace out, YouTube. Have a great week.